A very good evening from afternoon. Yes, we have shifted to evening. Just to answer a quick question, no, Nilima ma'am, we won't be able to shift the exam timing since it's the schedule given by ATAL portal only, and we have to adhere to it strictly. I'm so sorry for this. And now we are here with the third session, and already we have the speaker joined us, Dr. Nidhi Vyas ma'am, from a professor at Manipal University, Jaipur. It's indeed a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible to you? I mean, I'm audible to all the participants as well.
You are audible.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so much, ma'am. So, with your kind permission, I'll take a pleasure to introduce ma'am to all the participants. So, Nidhi ma'am is distinguished academician and sustainability advocate with extensive experience in management education, research, and institutional development. She has been actively contributing to the fields of environmental, social, and governance, which means ESG practices, sustainability development goals, and leadership for sustainable transformation. With over 2 decades of professional experience, Ma'am has established herself as thought leader in integrating sustainability and ethics into higher education. Ma'am work focuses on bridging the gap between academic learning and real-world sustainability imperatives, enabling students and professionals to develop a responsible, purpose-driven leaders. Ma'am holds a doctorate in management, complemented by postgraduate and undergraduate degree in business and allied disciplines. Ma'am's academic journey reflects a deep commitment to advancing education that balances economic growth, social equity, and environmental stewardship. Throughout Ma'am's career, she has contributed to the design and delivery of numerous faculty development programs, executive training workshops, and academic conferences centered on ESG principles, responsible governance, and sustainable leadership model. Ma'am's research interests include corporate sustainability, stakeholder engagement, ethical leadership, and sustainable strategy formulation. A passionate educator and mentor, Dr. Nidhi Vyas ma'am consistently promotes the vision of education for sustainability, advocating for curricula that fosters ethical awareness, critical thinking, and social responsibility. Her professional side of philosophy emphasizes that leadership in 21st century must align profit with purpose and innovation with inclusion. And this is exactly what is resonating with this week FDP program theme. Ma'am continues to inspire the academic community through her forward-looking perspective on sustainable management education, making her a highly respected voice in ongoing discourse on ESG, SDG, and sustainable leadership. So, without much ado, I would like to invite Ma'am. Please, everyone can have a virtual applause so that we can give a warm welcome to Nidhi Vyas, ma'am. Ma'am, over to you. I would request you to kindly address the gathering. Thank you to have
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
Sapna. Thank you for such a rewarding kind of
You deserve it, ma'am.
introduction that you gave me. Thank you so much. Thank you to IPS, like IBMR IPS Academy, for giving me this opportunity. In fact, IPS is the place where my career started. So this is where, whatever I have done, I have been able to do. I have been able to do just because of IBMR IPS Academy. So before, let me proceed. Let me try and share my screen. I hope I am quite audible and visible to everyone.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Great, great. So I'll just take a moment's time and I'll share my screen. Hope the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, we can see the screen.
So, a very good evening to everyone, all the participants. I hope you have been going through the entire set of sessions and you are getting a real rewarding experience hearing to one of the great set of leaders. Like I have been seeing the kind of people who have been interacting, the kind of experiences that have been shared as far as the subject matter is concerned. So, if I talk about the topic that I had to discuss today, it happens to be ESG, SDG, and the language of sustainable leadership. Well, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, if I talk about sustainability, this is something that has always been a part of Indian system. If I talk about Indian systems, talking about the process of offering prayer to all kinds of living beings, That is where the Indian subcontinent promotes sustainability. That is where SDG has been a part of the Indian system since long. So, if I talk about all of us, this concept is not new to us. It is there's nothing new. This is something that we all have grown up with. But suddenly, the entire world has started considering this particular aspect to be important. Why so? Why is it that everybody feels this has to be focused upon? Like there have been multiple things that have been going on. People have been considering why and why not should such things come. So there have had been multiple discussions wherein it was identified that of course the human race has to progress. But what is the actual definition of progress? If I talk about progress, if I talk about development, what is it that development is all about? So that is what we would like to touch upon in this particular session of ours. So without wasting much of your time, let me shift to the next slide, which talks about the core point, that is ESG. If I talk about ESG, it stands for environmental, social, and governance goals. Now, why is it important? Well, these are the goals that have been created by companies so that they are able to check out the impact they are having as far as environment, society, and governance is concerned. So, environmental, if I talk about environmental, it relates with the climate change, the kind of climate that is changing, the kind of problems that the human race is facing because of the changes that the climate is experiencing. That is something that has to be focused upon as far as ESG is concerned. Then comes the major point called resource efficiency. We all know that we have a limited set of resources. Most of the production processes, most of the things are on a verge of declining or are on a verge of actually getting over. So what is it that needs to be focused upon? That is a focus area of of environmental part in ESG, that is resource efficiency. Then comes waste management. So when I talk about waste management, well, my dear learners, my dear people, waste is something that creates a big problem for the human race. As far as waste management is concerned, what is it that can be done that this process can be taken back? How should we work on the waste that is being generated? That is also a key point that industries are conscious about. Then comes the social aspect of ESG, which talks about human rights, labor practices, community engagements, diversity and inclusion, and consumer protection. So, if I talk about all these aspects, my dear learners, you must have, we have gone through this concept of biodiversity. What do we mean by biodiversity? And why is it so important? Well, recently I was going through an article which talked about more than half of the world's species are declining. What would be the impact of decline of a particular species? How would it affect the human race? Why is it so important? Why do we feel that biodiversity is important? Well, if I talk about biodiversity, the concept says that we need to have a variety everywhere. Just imagine, like you being an individual, and every person whom you are interacting with gives you the same things in the same manner as you are thinking. Would be the impact? Would there be any innovation? So, if an industry or an organization wants to survive, wants to progress, innovation is required. And when would innovation come? Innovation would come with diversity. That is the small example of biodiversity in organizations. Now, coming to another example, everybody has been talking about biodiversity. If you like one example that comes in front of me is that of a very important species, that is the chimpanzees. The chimpanzees are considered the forest proto gardeners. Let us now travel to Africa as an example. Just visualize Africa. If I talk about Africa, it is a green land. It is a land which is full of biodiversity. One of the most important part of African rainforests are the oil palm trees, my dear learners. These are the trees which need a lot of light, which thrive in open areas, and these are the ones that if regrow would create a lot of oxygen. Oxygen is too important for human race to survive, I guess. Everybody knows that. But there is one problem. The oil palms, large seeds, are too heavy, and they are too heavy that they are unable to be blown to the wind, and they have to be dispersed in the poo of the animals, specifically chimpanzees. This is what they like. This is how a kind of species, a kind of tree species, is surviving. A small chimpanzee. If I talk about the millions and billions of species that exist in the world, look at the importance one of the species plays. Same is the importance that is given to crows in the country of India, say for example. Why do we need crows? Like you must be aware of the pious month of Shraddh Paksh that goes on. Why are the crows treated good? Crows, the people, the animal, the bird, which is responsible for people tree to grow. Do you know grow is one of the most important part of that tree, which gives oxygen for 24 hours in a day. So that is the important. Each and every species is important as far as biodiversity is concerned. Now, let me come back to a very important aspect, that is the social aspect of ESG. So, when I talk about ESG, like we have already seen that these are the points that human rights, labor practices, and all. Why is social parameter important as far as ESG is concerned? Because it is the people who are making the organization, it is the people who are being served, it is the people who are to be catered to. So one example, if I talk about social aspect of ESG, is the example of Lemon Tree Group of Hotels. The Lemon Tree Group of Hotels has started giving opportunity to those people who have some physical impairment. So when I talk about the diversity and inclusiveness aspect, this is a very important aspect. Give equal opportunities to each and every person who's existing, who's working in your organization. Give an opportunity to work to everyone without any kind of without any bias. That is the concept of social aspect as far as ESG is concerned. Then comes the third important part of ESG, which is governance. So when I talk about governance, I'm talking about the aspect wherein how is an organization being governed? What is it that is important for an organization? What are the systems that the organization has to follow? What are the conducts that the organization needs to have? What are the goals that the organization should work with? If I talk about corporate governance, you must understand that we have to create leaders amongst ourselves. We have to create a kind of environment which is beneficial for everybody. How important is it for me to work for the organization? How important is for me to help everybody survive? Then comes the aspect of compliance. I don't know why has this been highlighted, but if I talk about compliance, am I following the rules and regulations? If I do not follow the rules and regulations that have been compelled by the government, then there is a possibility that the kind of penalties that I'll have to pay would be exorbitant. That is the importance compliance or ESG has as far as organizations is concerned. Because, over a period of time, the governments, the authorities have become stricter as far as all these aspects are concerned. So it is very important to follow all the regulations, all the rules that have come up as far as SDGs and ESG is concerned. Then comes an important aspect called stakeholder engagement. Why is stakeholder engagement important? When I talk about stakeholders, I hope we all are aware that stakeholders are all people who are associated with the product, with the organization, the customers, the people who are working with the organization, the partners, every person is important. Even the investors play a very important role as far as stakeholder engagement is concerned. Suddenly, the investors have become very conscious about impact investing. Why is investment done? Like looking at the investments, when I am making any kind of investment as an investor, I'll see how responsible is the organization. That is the importance ESG has. Now, I hope the point is clear. Let us proceed to the next part of this particular topic, that is sustainable development goals. Well, learners, sustainable development goals happens to be one of the areas that is very important. In fact, this is the area that is very close to me, because this is where I have been trying to work on. I'm trying to work more on this. I'm trying to understand this better, and like talking to you all also, the things are becoming better for me. I'm learning because I'm talking to you. So if I talk about sustainable development goals, the sustainable development goals were a successor of the very much talked about Millennium Development Goals. Millennium Development Goals was one of the set of goals wherein most of the world leaders came for a common cause, wherein they understood that the world needs to come together. The disparity that exists between the underdeveloped as well as the developing and the developed world, that difference has to be bridged. That was the focus area why Millennium Development Goals were created. It was understood that even if progress is going on, but there is the kind of progress that was going on was not a very balanced kind of progress. The developed countries were developing at a faster pace, wherein the underdeveloped world was still fighting for the basic necessities. So it was very much required that the world needs to come on the same platform. For that reason, there was 8 goals that were decided upon, that were being talked about as far as Millennium Declaration was concerned. I'm sorry. The concern areas like eradication of poverty, eradication of hunger, eradication of all things that were related to discrimination, the kind of gender discrimination that happened, the kind of lack of empowered women that was happening. Because if I talk about women empowerment, we all are aware that this is 50% of the population. And if the 50% of the population is not empowered, then how would we expect the human race to succeed? So, for that reason, women empowerment was something that was being talked about. Primary education was something that was being talked about. The Millennium Declaration also talked about child mortality, which was a very big problem, and maternal health. Because you know what used to happen? The maternal health was in such a pathetic situation that the females who were giving birth could not survive. So that was a real dire situation. The kind of outbreak of diseases that was happening was also something that was very disturbing for the entire world. So eventually, the countries, the United Nations, and the group of countries came together to formulate certain areas wherein they wanted to partner for development. If I talk about the Millennium Development Goals, they did bring a lot of progress, my dear learners. The If I talk about cutting poverty, yes, there was a control over poverty. There was a control over hunger. The kind of malnutrition problems that were existing, that could be controlled. However, the journey was long, but still there was some progress, and there was a little progress on education and all also. But if I talk about the other areas like environment as such, there was no progress in environmental sustainability, and there was a lack of progress in gender equality. And even if I talk about maternal health or child mortality, that also was affected. So eventually, after a period of time, it was realized that more efforts are to be put as far as goals are concerned, as far as areas are concerned. So came Sustainable Development Goal in the year 2015. So, what are the Sustainable Development Goals? Basically, Sustainable Development Goals are a set of 17 important goals that are determinant for the progress of human race. If I talk about human race, and not just human race, it is for all the life forms, I would say. It is not just restricted to the human race. It is for the entire globe, entire world. Every life form, every species that needs to be focused upon. So let us look at the sustainable development goals. The first sustainable development goal is no poverty. This is a goal that talked about ending poverty in all its forms. The next goal is zero hunger, which talked about eradicating hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition. Then came the goal of quality education, which ensured healthy lives and well being for everyone. Next was gender equality. Gender equality is the goal that aimed at creating opportunities for all the genders to survive. And basically, the focus was to empower all women and girls. So, whatever disparities were existing that were to be worked upon. I guess I've left on good health and well being, wherein if I talk about good health and well being, this particular goal ensured inclusive and good health for each and every person. A proper health, if I talk about a good health in terms of even mental health, not just physical health. All aspects of health were to be covered over a period of time. Because the irony of the situation is that if health is talked about, only physical health has been focused since age old time. It is the time that we must understand that if health is concerned, good health doesn't only restrict to physical health, it also relates with mental health. Awareness about mental health, awareness about how important it is to be healthy in all terms. Next, we have clean water and sanitation. Well, I'm sorry, we all are aware that Earth is made up of 70% water, they say. But out of the 70% water, what is the percentage of water that is drinkable? Sadly, it is just 1%. So, what needs to be done? The basic thing is that we'll have to focus on clean water. How important is clean water? There have been economies that do not get water, keep aside the point called clean water. How do we create an awareness about clean water? How do we create an importance for sanitation? That was this particular goal. Next comes affordable and clean energy. So, when I talk about affordable and clean energy, this is a goal that ensures reliable, affordable, sustainable, and modern energy. What kind of energy? The energy that is in a manner not affecting the environment. So whenever we talk about affordable and clean energy, affordable obviously means related to how much is it heavy on our pocket. And when I talk about clean energy, I'm talking about the sources of energy from where we are drawing the energy. It is like, even if there has been a lot of discussion on clean energy and all, the manufacturing sector till date is still dependent on fossil fuels, my dear Ranu. Fossil fuels which are so damaging for the environment. This is from where energy is being drawn. So that has to be worked upon. There are different action plans that the government and the authorities have come up with, but still the road is yet to be traveled. A lot of journey needs to be made. Next comes an important goal, which is decent work and economic growth. So when I talk about decent work and economic growth, this is a goal that aims to encourage inclusive growth, sustained economic growth, and sustainable development. Let everybody get an opportunity to work. Let everybody be working in respectable environment. Let every kind of work is considered promising. That kind of approach has to be focused upon, that has to be developed. So the kind of facilities that are being given to the employees that need to be developed in the best possible manner. so that they have a pride in serving for a particular organization. That is the concept of decent work and economic growth. Next comes industry, innovation, and infrastructure, a goal that aims to develop resilient infrastructure, an infrastructure wherein innovation is happening. A lot of innovation is happening, innovation that is for the betterment of the humankind. That is the beauty of innovations, they say. The next is reduce inequalities. Whatever kind of inequalities exist, whether we talk about social inequalities, whether we talk about economic inequalities, or we talk about political inequalities, we need to understand that opportunities should be given within and amongst everyone. Each and every part needs to be given an opportunity. Next comes sustainable cities and communities. Well, Leonard, I would say that if we talk about sustainable cities, if I talk about sustainable communities, this is where the step can begin. This is where an initiative can start. A place which is safe to live, a city which includes everyone, which gives opportunities to everyone. Just imagine if the cities are sustainable and the communities are developing, then would the menace of migration for work happen? It would never happen. Let there be opportunities for people in the same locality itself. Let there be sustainable cities and communities. Next comes responsible consumption and production. So this is a goal that talks about practicing sustainable consumption, practicing sustainable production. When I talk about sustainable consumption, I'm talking about consumption as a customer, as a consumer, that I am consuming the products with a feeling that I am responsible. How should I go for responsible consumption? What do we mean by responsible production for that matter? If I talk about responsible production, I'm talking about all the processes, the entire life cycle assessment of the product that goes on. What part in the life cycle of the product, what effect is it bringing to the environment? That is what I have to study, I have to focus on. So when each and every part is being divided, when I'm talking about responsible production, when each and every step is divided into small parts and we identify which is the area to be focused upon, that is where we'll be able to achieve this goal. We'll be able to achieve the concept of responsible production. And that is very much required, and that happens to be the need of the hour. Next comes climate action. So when I talk about climate action, they say the climate change is a phenomena that has to be worked upon, that needs to be focused upon. Why so? Does it affect that much? Does 1 degree change in the environment, in the temperature, affect that much? Yes, it does. There have been discussion on glaciers melting. There have been discussions on the unwavered weather patterns. Why does this happen? Why are there so many problems that are existing because of sudden rains, sudden floods? Why is it happening? This is because of climate being ignored. We need to focus on taking action towards climate change. And these steps should come from all of us, I would say. It shouldn't be on the authorities' shoulders only. The next point that comes in as far as goals is concerned is life below water. A goal which is so important that it is trying that the usage and preservation of oceans is happening. The seas are flourishing. The marine resources are protected. Why? Why do we have to focus on marine resources? How important are they? Do you know most of the marine resources? I'm sorry. Most of the life forms that exist in the oceans, that is giving a lot of oxygen to us. So this is important. You need to focus upon each and every part. Life below water is a very important part, because whatever pollution happens, it is the ocean that is controlling the temperature of the world. So we have to focus on the things that lie below. Water is protected. And ocean is protected just because of the life forms that exist under the ocean. And that needs to be focused upon. Next comes life on land, a goal that aims to preserve, a goal that aims to restore and encourage sustainable land ecosystem use. Next comes the goal of peace, justice, and strong institutions. You need to advance towards peaceful societies. You need to advance towards justice. Would, would anybody benefit from the wars that happen? Sorry to say, even if somebody wins, that person is losing a lot on a lot many things. So it is important that there is peace in the world. The kind of justice that happens is fair for everyone. And there are strong bodies, strong organizations that are taking care of the entire system. The governance systems should be that strong. Next comes partnerships for the goals. So, learners, if I talk about partnerships for the goals, let me tell you that all the goals are related with each other. So, if you are able to achieve goal number one, then automatically you are proceeding towards achieving goal number 9, 10, 11. So, the global partnerships that exist, it is very important that we have varied people engaged as far as achievement of goals is concerned. No single country would be able to achieve all the goals on its own. Everybody has to go together. Each and every person needs to go together. So if I talk about different countries, if I talk about different kind of institutions, the basic institutions that need to focus, that need to partner are the governments, the businesses, the individuals. Everybody has to play their role and they have to work in synergy. That is how sustainable development goals can actually be achieved. Learners, if I talk about sustainable development goals, all these goals have been subdivided into multiple targets, and that targets are like there have been numbers mentioned, there have been clear targets mentioned that these are the targets to be achieved within this particular period of time. So, since quantification has been done, the achievement of the goals can actually be progressed towards. So that's all if I talk about sustainable development goals. Now let us proceed to the next slide, which talks about the alignment between sustainable development goals and environmental, social, and governance goals. How do they align? So whenever we talk about, SDGs are a bigger phenomena, and ESG happens to be a phenomena that gels with SDGs. So when an industry perspective is considered, let us see how SDGs can be achieved. The first goal, as an example, the goal of no poverty. One example that has come in my mind is that we need to create employment opportunities for different people. So when you create employment opportunities for people in and around your area, your manufacturing unit, say for example, what are you doing? You are serving the society. So, in terms of ESG, you are able to touch the goal of social empowerment. The social aspect of ESG is being touched upon when you create employment opportunity. Similar example giving there is related to fair wages. When people are given fair wages, what happens? This is what happens when we talk about fair wages. Because of fair wages, you're able to serve the society. You're able to build the society. You're able to rebuild the society. You're giving an opportunity to people around. And when the society flourishes, your product is also being consumed by the other as a company, as an organization. Let's go to the next goal, that is zero hunger. How can an organization, how can a company align the concept of zero hunger? The first example mentioned over here is promote food security. Let the workers get an opportunity to have their food in the factory premises itself. Give them options, nutritious options to eat. Give them reasonable food so that hunger, the problem of hunger can be catered to. Try to work on this. Focus on sustainable agriculture. What happens with sustainable agriculture? It is because of sustainable agriculture that you're able to develop the products in such a manner that it is not harmful for the environment. So if I talk about sustainable agriculture, let me tell you that Indian subcontinent has always followed sustainable agricultural products. The practices of agriculture in India have been mostly sustainable in nature. So that is the beauty of aligning this particular SDG. So what are the ESGs that we are touching on? We are able to touch on the social aspect of ESG. We are able to touch on the environmental aspect of ESG. Next, we have quality education. Quality education is a very important aspect as far as SDG is concerned. And how does an organization align social aspect? Invest in skill education and employee training. You know, Mahindra, you must have heard about Mahindra company. Mahindra has a specific skill education institute that they run so that the employees get an opportunity to enhance the skills that they have. So invest in skill education as an organization. Train your employees, give your employees opportunities. Next way in which you can cater to quality education is to align with the cause of education for the underprivileged. If as an organization you are helping some students, some schools to flourish well, then you are serving to the society. Sapna, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Can you please share that video, that Chirag's video that I had shared?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Just give me a moment, ma'am.
So if I talk about quality education, let
Okay,
us go through
I'm
this.
so sorry to interrupt, Nidhi ma'am. Actually, I will have to take the rights for sharing the video and then I'll give you the rights again for sharing the PPT. Will that work
Okay,
for you?
no
Yeah?
worries. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
of course it will. Please.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, like when you talk about quality education, this is one of the videos for a real purpose. Like, so that purpose happens to create the difference. The next alignment, if I talk about, is related to good health and well-being, wherein it talks about ensuring employee wellness and safe workplaces. You must have seen about different safety measures that are being followed in organizations, in manufacturing units. Reason being that it is important that our employees are working well, are working in a healthy environment. One more example, if I talk about well-being, that comes in front of me is example of one of the famous organizations. Like long back, the company called Bridgestone Tires, they did a CSR activity wherein they actually distributed helmets to the people who were not wearing helmets. It is long back, like 10 years back. So why was the company doing that? Company was actually doing that to promote well-being of people. The number of accidents that happen, specifically of two-wheelers, that has been that the figures are really alarming. So how can you serve the society? When you're doing something for the society, the people flourish. The people are actually are indebted to you. So, indirectly, your company also gets observed. In fact, a similar example is that of an organization wherein people, same helmet case, wherein the workers who used to come by two-wheelers were not allowed to enter the factory gate if they were not wearing their helmets. So why was that stringent rule applied to the organization? just because that the level of awareness of the workers was to be increased. This is how you can serve the society, serve, and you can align the fourth goal, that is good health and well-being. Next comes the goal of gender equality. If I talk about gender equality, these are certain corporate alignment examples that I have mentioned over here. You can ensure equal pay. In this way, you're able to serve the social aspect of ESG. Then, if I talk about leadership roles to be given to women, which is very much being practiced these days. There has become a mandatory rule that you'll have to actually have more female leaders in your leadership positions in your organization. Reason being simple: give equal opportunity to people, and even workplace inclusivity. Same example of lemon tree group of hotels, wherein those workers who have like each and every worker is being given the same treatment, the same kind of like opportunity. So that serves the social aspect of ESG. If I talk about, let me proceed to the next part, which talks about clean water and sanitation. Again, how can you work for clean water and sanitation as far as SDG is concerned? You can go for optimizing water usage. How do you optimize water usage? Go for different examples. Ask the employees to contribute in your organization. Ask them how would they save water. Bring ideas for water conservation. Just distribute the concept. Just motivate people with the concept that every drop counts. Like there have been multiple examples that are being incorporated in offices. I have seen many offices like that, like the AC water that is coming out of the drain pipes. How is it being used? How is being reused? That also happens. The RO water that is coming from draining, that is being drained. Instead of wasting that water, how can it be reused? So different things are being done. So, and even if I talk about clean water and sanitation, I'm also talking about water conservation over here. So if water conservation happens, then it would actually lead to clean water also. Because in the earlier slide when we were talking about clean water, we did focus on this point, that okay, clean water is important, but before that, water is important. If you do not have water, how would you be able to clean it? So how do you conserve water? Even the plumbing fixtures that you're putting in your office location, in the washrooms, near the water coolers and all, what kind of plumbing fixtures are you using? Are you using plumbing fixtures that are not wasting much of water? In fact, the plumbing companies have come up with solutions for this also. They have come up with different kind of products wherein limited water is being used. Is water dripping out from is there any leakage in in your office? So every drop counts. If this particular point is being incorporated, is being communicated to your workers, your employees, then automatically you are able to serve the environmental aspect of the ESG framework. Next goes affordable and clean energy. We have talked about affordable and clean energy. We have talked about use of renewable energy. We have talked about energy efficient appliances. These are basic examples that are aligning with the environmental aspect of ESG. In fact, there are a lot many people who have converted their office spaces in such a manner. The construction of buildings have been made in such a beautiful manner that they are able to work with natural lights. They are trying to come up with innovative steps. There are organizations, there are offices I have interacted with you, wherein they come with ideas like there can be days which are wherein people use no elevators. Just imagine every employee, like for one day, the entire office runs on stairs, doesn't utilize the elevators. How much energy is being saved? The simple, if again another example of affordable and clean energy, how to like align with corporate, with organization, is a simple example of giving an assignment to the workers, to the employees, about counting their carbon footprints. What are your carbon footprints? How much are you consuming? Like what carbon are you consuming? And how can you limit the usage? How can your carbon footprint reduce in its size? We whatever is the foot of ours, like whatever size footwear we wear, we would never be able to reduce the size of our feet for sure. But can we reduce the size of our footprints, carbon footprints? Of course we can. That motivation is being given to the employees would definitely create an environmental aspect of ESG. Next comes decent work and economic growth. The basic examples of this is that you should support local job creation. Let the locals come and work with you. Do not hire people from outside. Let the locals come and work with you, because they do not have to spend a lot of money to set up their homes in your city. Let there be fair labor practices that are being followed. If you have fair labor practices, if each and every person is getting a proper treatment, then you are serving the social and governance aspect of the ESG framework. Next comes industry, innovation, and infrastructure. I'm sorry. Build sustainable infrastructure, invest in green technologies. What kind of infrastructure is termed as sustainable infrastructure? Basically, that kind of infrastructure which does not depend a lot on external things, which happens naturally. That is sustainable infrastructure. Green technologies, again, are the technologies that are not damaging the environment. So, what are the two aspects of ESG that they are being able to serve? The environmental as well as the governance aspect. Let me proceed to the next slide, which talks about the other four aspects, other four SDGs. The first SDG over here is reduced inequalities. You need to support inclusive growth. You need to have equitable work policies. This is something that is touching the social aspect. So when I talk about reduce inequalities, one example that comes in my mind, it is also related with gender equality. Is the example that I recently heard, is that of the famous actress Deepika Padukone. One who's talking about work hours, limited work hours, 8-hour work schedule for a worker, for an employee. In fact, you would be shocked. Like the revelation that I heard today from same person was that there are certain actors who have been working, famous actors who have been working just for 8 hours on an everyday basis, whatever their assignments were, and they were working without any hindrance. But this female, when raised her voice and wanted to work, wanted to clearly mention that she wanted to work for 8 hours, she had to lose some of her assignments. So, even in an industry wherein you are a star performer, your request is not being considered. So look at the kind of problems in the society that the other workers might be facing. So have to work on reduced inequalities. So if you are going to support inclusive growth, if you are giving equitable work policies, the ESG part that you are touching upon is the social aspect that you are touching. Next, we have sustainable cities and communities. So when I talk about sustainable cities and communities, example of corporate alignment that has been mentioned is implement eco-friendly operations. Whatever operations, whatever work is going on, let it be eco-friendly in nature. If you have eco-friendly processes, then those processes would be beneficial for your city also. So if the entire city is dependent on solar power, say for example, for electricity, then what would be the effect? The usage of fossil fuel would again reduce. The CSR programs are also an example of alignment of corporate alignment of this SDG. So what are the aspects of ESG that are being covered through this? The environmental aspect and the social aspect. Next, we have responsible consumption and production. Responsible consumption and production. How do you go for responsible consumption and production? I'm sorry, I guess I need to so when about responsible production and consumption, learners, we must understand that we have to focus on different areas. As an example, I've mentioned manage waste. So whatever waste is there, how can you reduce the wastage that your corporate is releasing? What do you do that the landfill that you are polluting is not getting polluted? How do you manage that waste? That needs to be thought upon. Then encourage sustainable supply chain. So these are the examples that touch upon the environmental aspect of ESG. Next, we have Sapna, can you please share the photograph that I shared with you?
Yes, ma'am, just a moment.
So if I talk about responsible TAN, how important environment is. How important environment is. So most of the customers today, if I talk about, are more conscious towards the environment. In fact, the concept of climate action is so much in the mindsets of the younger generation or of the new age customer, that even if a product is not available at a particular period of time, they are ready to wait the product which is environment friendly, the a product which brings in lower carbon footprints. So that is the importance. Suddenly the consumption, responsible consumption kind of thing has happened because of this attribute of climate the climate conscious customers. Let me proceed to the next part, which talks about the next set of goals, that is life below water. Life below water. Why is life below water SDG important? Like we've already talked about life below water in the slide wherein we were introducing the 17 sustainable development goals. So over a period of time, it has been understood that oceans provide essential services, very essential services, and around 97% of Earth's water and weather patterns are being controlled, are being taken care by the oceans. So it is important that oceans are being taken care of. So what are the ways in which corporates can align with the SDG 14, that is life below water? One is to reduce marine pollution. If marine pollution reduces, then automatically the concept of environment can also be achieved. Like the ESG goal that can be achieved is related to environment. Now, I guess a lot many people are in a rush to write the exams and all. So, Sapna, how much time do I have?
Ma'am, you can conclude around 6:30. We have 20 minutes.
Okay. So like suddenly the messages are coming. So I thought that I hope I'm not going ahead of time.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Take your time.
Thank you. So the next goal, SDG, that needs to be aligned with ESG is the goal of life on land. So how can the goal of life on land be achieved? The two examples that I have incorporated over here are to support reforestation. There are different companies that have started focusing on reforestation drives. So there lot many corporate social responsibility activities related to reforestation are being run by most of the companies. Maximum number of companies have started with this drive of reforestation. And which ESG is being touched upon? Obviously, it is the environmental ESG. And then biodiversity conservation. There are different initiatives related to conservation, biodiversity conservation, that are going on in the world overall, in the world, which wherein the environmental aspect is being touched upon. Many like you must have heard about the success people have, the organizations have achieved because of saving certain species. Many species have actually revived because of the biodiversity conservation initiatives that are being run by corporates. The next SDG is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And the examples that I have quoted over here are to promote ethical governance, transparency, and anti corruption. The organizations understand the importance of ethical governance. Suddenly, the whistleblower policies have improved in most of the corporates. Why so? Because they want no one to be fooled. They want to maintain transparency. Maintaining transparency has become one of the key areas by most of the organizations. So the governance systems of the companies have improved. That is how peace, justice, and strong institutions aligns with with this ESG framework. The last and the 17th one is partnerships for the goals. So when I talk about partnerships for the goals, the collaborations that happen with NGOs, the collaborations that happen between and amongst the governments, the individuals, that is how you would be able to achieve the governance and social aspect of your ESG. That is how SDG would align with your ESG. Now over here, one example that has just come across a few days back. There is a particular university in our country itself, which has created a sustainability cell. You must have heard about all the colleges, all the educational institutes creating sustainability cells. It is a kind of a buzzword these days. Everybody is creating sustainability cell. Now, this specific university's website, when I visited, I saw that they have mentioned that the outsiders, that the visitors, that the people who are not directly associated with the university, with the college, can also become a part of their sustainability cell. They are ready. The university, the college people are ready to partner with the external agencies also, external agencies and external individuals also, who just have a will to serve the environment. So if this kind of partnership happens, look at the kind of immense potential it has. Look at the kind of effect this particular aspect can bring. So when you are partnering for the goals, when you're partnering with different agencies, even like the industry members, even if when you are partnering with your competitor, then the possibility of you achieving the goal of having a strong society is being achieved. Let me proceed to, to the next slide, which talks about how can what are the simple steps that can be taken to align ESG goals with SDG. The first one is materiality assessment. If I talk about materiality assessment, I'm talking about an aspect wherein you are trying to identify as an organization what are the areas that you have to focus on. What are the primary priority issues as far as ESG is concerned? Which determinant, which thing is most important for your business, that you have to identify. It might be possible that a particular process requires a lot of fossil fuels, and there is nothing that you can do to replace the usage of fossil fuels. How would you convert that process, that in such a manner that the consumption of fossil fuels reduce? That has to be found by you only. That is what your company has to find out. Now, how can you find out? Herein, you can engage the stakeholders, all the stakeholders, the internal people, the external people who are related with your organization. What is the most important issue that you want to touch as far as ESG goals is concerned? And if you are going to modify that particular aspect, what would be the impact on your everyday working? Would there be an impact on your operations in the processes of yours? Would it have an impact on your organization's reputation? that has to be understood, that has to be talked about. And whatever materiality assessment you are doing, will you be able to map the ESG goals with SDGs? You have to align the ESG goals with SDGs, right? Are you able to do that? That is how you'll be able to, that is the first step of you being able to align ESG goals with SDG. The next is to set clear and measurable goals. As we have always talked about goals, we always talk about something called SMART goals. Let there be specific goals. Let there be measurable goals. Let there be attainable goals. Let there be relevant and time bound goals. What do you want to achieve as an organization? Number it, quantify it, and, and fix a deadline to it. Is it important to achieve? Is it relevant as per the times? That has to be talked about. So when you are creating as well as setting the goals, what are the things that you have to focus on? What are the benchmarks that the industry follows? What are the standards that the industry is following? What are the targets that are achievable? I have an ambition to achieve a particular target. Would I actually be able to achieve it? Is it realistic in nature? Find it out. Integrate it with your company's overall strategy. Unless and until your company's overall strategy gels with your objective related to ESG, related to SDG, you would not be able to achieve it. So whatever business model you are following, if your business model has has this particular ESG goal aligned, mentioned, then you will be able to achieve it. What are the key performance indicators? Identify them. How would you measure the impact? That needs to be studied. Next is develop an implementation plan. The third step, that is develop an implementation plan in the sense that what are the timelines? When are you going to achieve your goals? What would be the responsibilities of individuals, of people? What all responsibilities are to be shouldered? What would be the resources that you would be, sorry, what are the resources that you will be requiring? So when I talk about developing an implementation plan, I'm also talking about an action plan for every ESG that is existing. What are all the steps that are required to be taken so that this ESG can be touched upon, this target can be touched upon? What kind of resources would be required? How would I cater to resources? How would I be able to source the resources? How would I allocate them? What would be the budget constraints that are to be followed? So that is how implementation can happen. Then who all are required? What all partnerships would you require? What all collaborations would you require? Collaborate with people, collaborate with multiple people if you want to implement the plan, because collaboration would create wonders. The next important point is monitor and report progress. You need to monitor how you are doing and do it in a transparent manner. Because when you are able to monitor what you are doing, you would understand what are the areas that you are lagging behind in. You must have a robust system to understand how you are performing ESG wise. There are certain recognized frameworks that are being followed. So go ahead with those recognized frameworks. Follow the reporting frameworks in such a manner that you are able to achieve, you're able to track your progress. You're able to understand whether you are whether you're growing or not. There are different reporting initiatives, like lot many people talk about global reporting initiatives. There is an international sustainability standards board in process wherein progress can be tracked. So there are different frameworks. Just stick to a particular framework and understand how you're progressing in terms of ESG goals being achieved. And continuously, you'll have to work towards improving. They say these are the times of Kaizen. Are you able to go ahead with Kaizen? Are you achieving success in that manner? The next step, the last step I would say, is to foster a culture of sustainability. Let sustainability be a part and parcel of your company culture. If it is a part and parcel of your company culture, then people would be committed in the long term, and they'll be more engaged with the work. Educate the employees, engage the employees, let them be a part of your sustainability drive. Recognize the people, reward your employees, reward the people who are contributing to your organization's goals, to your ESGs. If you are able to recognize and reward them, then automatically the kind of environment would be different. You would be an ESG pro organization. Let me proceed to the next important part of the session, which is sustainable leadership. What is sustainable leadership? What are the important areas that you have to focus on? First, vision beyond profit. What is more important? If I talk about success, value is more important in terms of, like, if I talk about figures, if I talk about profits, value is more important for me as an organization. If a leader has this particular aspect, if this is the mindset of the leader, then this is what would be percolating in its employees. As an example, Anand Mahindra has been integrating environmental responsibility in his core business strategy. The company has a different framework called Planet Positive Framework. Do you know the company is aiming to becoming carbon neutral by the year 2040? Just imagine a company becoming carbon neutral, a company that is responsible for zero waste to landfills, converting to 100% renewable energy. Look at the vision. What is more important? Vision is more important than profit, because profit will follow. Believe me, when you are acting as a responsible person, as a sustainable leader, then automatically profit will follow. The next important principle that I have quoted over here is transparency and accountability, which comes on a regular basis. Transparency and accountability is something that is part and parcel of leadership always. Whatever progress your organization is doing in terms of ESG, communicate it. Tell people. When you communicate it, people will recognize you, will understand you. Next is employee and community engagement. Encourage everyone, every employee to participate in sustainability related initiatives. Then comes innovation leadership. Go for innovative things. Go for green technologies. Go for green products. If you're able to explore such kind of product, then the possibilities are higher for you. Your organization would definitely become a sustainable organization. The next is resilience and adaptability. Adapt new things. Let there be data-driven insights. You have data. So people want to give their exam fast, right? just 5 minutes more. I'll stick to my time. Don't worry. Let me proceed to the next part, which is an example of sustainable leadership. One, green supply chains. We had talked about supply chain. I hope we know what do we mean by supply chain. So whatever supply chain is that of yours, try to develop it in such a manner that you are able to reduce waste. We also talked about a very important concept, that is life cycle assessment. So when your product's life cycle assessment is being done, even the supply chain assessment needs to be done. Each and every step that is being followed, each and every process that is being followed. What are the steps? What small steps, what small initiatives can be taken that you convert into a green organization? Each and every step can be converted, can be zeroed down, can be divided into parts. The next example of sustainable leadership is energy efficient technologies. Try to look for those kind of technologies wherein operational costs are low, wherein carbon footprints are reduced. Then comes circular economy models. If you talk about circular economy, it relates with an economy wherein even the waste that is coming out from your operations is being reused, is being utilized as maybe raw material for some other company, for some other operation. So that circular economy model is another important aspect of sustainable leadership, they say. The next is sustainable product design. Let there be such offerings that meet the customer demand and the customer is satisfied of thinking that the carbon footprints have been minimized using that product. So these are some of the challenges that I have mentioned that I would like to talk about. First challenge is short-term profit measure pressure. So look, the most important point is that if the leader has to focus on sustainability, then they have to understand that do not focus much on quarterly expectations, because long-term vision would definitely give them a better result. The next challenge in sustainable leadership is limited ESG expertise. The people with whom the leader has to work, they do not know much about ESG. If they do not know much about ESG, or there is no expert along with that leader in the organization, then it is a little difficult to encourage the concept of sustainability in the organization. So it is very important that you are able to build in-house knowledge and sustainability skills. Next is data and measurement. Basically, the problem is that still the ESG framework as well as the SDGs are not very old. So the kind of data that the organizations have is limited. The kind of measurement ways, the ways in which the measurements are being done, the calculations are being done, they are not very accurate as of now. So that is one of the challenges in sustainable leadership. The next most important challenge in sustainable leadership is cultural resistance. It's very difficult to shift the mindset across the departments whom you are leading. So that's all from my end, my dear learners. In case you have any question related to the things that we have covered, please let me know. So Sapna, there is a lot of tension going on amongst the participants.
No, ma'am, nothing like that. We have exactly ended on time, so please don't get bothered. So the participants, if you have any questions, ma'am, let me tell you, it was an amazing session. Like, we didn't have the session related on sustainability this way, and the video was amazing. So we actually learned sustainability in quite a detail with you. Thank you so much for that. And
Thank you so much.
do we have any other questions, participants here?
Ma'am, I raised a question there.
Yes, ma'am, please. Over to you, ma'am.
it is in the chat box. So how we can the education industry can we connect with these institutions and universities.
Ma'am, the question says that how education industry can contribute.
The first way in which educational industry can contribute is through research. I guess Atul, who asked the question? Dr. S. Rahini. Rahini ji, the point is that research is something that would create a difference. One more aspect that I would touch upon is research, of course, would take a lot of time. The next thing that you can do as a teacher when you are interacting with your learners, teach them about sustainability, teach them about SDGs. The interactions that you will do, even if they are able to retain 50% of the knowledge that you are sharing with you, then the environment is going to benefit, then the world is going to benefit. So talk to your students about sustainabilities and do not leave opportunities to discuss or share how they can become sustainable. In fact, the calendar that I shared with you, the September calendar that I shared with you, ask them to like give them an assignment to do some activity wherein how they are contributing to the environment. That is how you can actually give them options to go ahead. And then if I talk about education industry, there are colleges wherein they have created specific sustainable cells. Like you must be aware that the kind of products that the students consume, the kind of eating habits the students have. Start visiting the
Here
mess.
to have the
Tell
zero
them
plastic
about nutrition
zero food
aspect.
waste
Tell them about the after the life cycle of the product that they are consuming. Go for certain small like if I talk about biodiversity related photographs in the like in the university where I work, we have put up the photographs of those species that are visible in our campus. So the students would start developing an interest in that, and they would start developing an interest in conservation, which is very much required, very much need of the hour. Ask them to spend less money. If they spend less, ask them to count the money that they are spending. These people do not understand that every consumption that they are making, they are creating a carbon footprint. Teach them like that. That is what you can do, I guess. Anything else? Any other contribution from any other fellow participant?
Ma'am, if there are some things which are not measurable, uh, I mean, it may be goal also or benchmarks which cannot be measured. So how to deal with them while aligning with SDGs and ESGs?
Look, this is something even I am trying to find an answer because now the one aspect that I've always talked about is that how much can we quantify the things? If you are unable to quantify it, sadly it is difficult. But you cannot tell that biodiversity has increased. You cannot tell. There are certain figures, certain numbers, certain effects that are seen in the long run. So there are certain things that you feel, that feeling has to be incorporated, that passion has to be developed. That is what I feel.
Okay,
I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Mayank.
thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
I am Swayam Prakash Jha. I had a question regarding sustainability and development.
Right.
Uh, Before 40 years back, when India is considered as an undeveloped country, and our development path was very weak. At that time, what I I was very child at that time, and uh, uh, I think I suffered a lot of problem in our daily life. We do not have the market do not have any eraser at that time. We have to sharp our pencil with blade. And one blade I have to use for I think 6 months or 1 year. That was very difficult to pass that time. But when government opened the economy for all and LPG comes in the market, I think the eraser and sharpener is, you can say, every day it goes on dustbin. If it is not like that, your refill or pen every day goes on dustbin. So is it not the responsibility of government to make policies at central level or macro level to all the companies who is responsible for development in the country? They will produce zero waste, and they will adopt the green, you can say, production. Because when we start from bottom to up, suppose ki I feel that situation, I am feeling that situation ki I am wasting you can say environment and degrading the environment. But only my contribution cannot stop the degradation of the environment. Am I clear?
Of course, you are clear and you're very elaborate also on this point. I can understand the pain. This is a pain that most of the people who think about environment have. Like even I feel the same. Like when my kids call for photocopies from Blinkit and the paper comes and extra papers are being sent. That is the cost that we all are paying. The cost of comfort, I would say, that is happening. However, the regulatory bodies have become quite stringent nowadays. The norms are improving over a period of time. Like if I talk about a simple aspect of environment, if I talk about how can the concept of sustainable cities that I touched upon, you must be aware of the sustainable city aspect that Indore has been following. So, initially there would be certain problems. Over a period of time, these things would solve. This is the cost of development. I agree on that part. This is the cost of development that we are paying, but it would not happen for long because who's consuming. That is why the concept of responsible consumption has come. You must have heard about the company called Levi's Jeans. Levi's Jeans has come up with an advertisement which says that stop buying our jeans. Look at the responsibility the company is taking. So over a period of time, the companies themselves are going to promote sustainability at that level, and that would happen. It would be a long duration, but it would definitely happen because the after effects can be seen. We are experiencing the after effects, all of us. So over a period of time things will improve, I'm sure. And this is what we all have to do. As Dr. Rahini said, that how can universities, how can teach, what can the colleges do? This is what we can do. We have to take the initiative. That's all, I guess.
Ma'am, it means ki first you degrade
No,
the
no, no. I
environment?
would not say that. I would not say that. There
No,
are
no.
some people who are degrading. Not
Uh,
everybody is degrading. It
Ma'am,
has happened. It's difficult. It's difficult to stop the consumption when the product is lying in the shops. It is difficult. It won't happen in one day, but over a period of time, it will happen, sir.
ma'am, just I want to clear my stand. Ki,